So it looks like the alternator on the CRX has failed. Let me get the key out here. Initially it started off as while I'm driving I would randomly get the battery light and then it would just go away. And then it turned into, you know, like a few days later or weeks later, whatever, it turned into the battery light would turn on at idle, but when I was revving up the engine, the battery light would go away. And then it just turned into battery light is on all the time. And I even have a way to check battery voltage inside the car, so I'm gonna start the engine. So you can see I got this connected into the cigarette lighter, and that tells me battery voltage at all times while I'm driving. So that's the first indication that I knew something was wrong with the alternator, or I should say the charging system. As you can see, the car is running 12 volts. Battery light is on. That's not going to focus, but this one right here on the bottom is the battery light. And like I said before, when I rev it up, we would get 14 volts. And now we don't even get that anymore. So it's a done deal. The alternator has taken a crap. So I'm gonna go ahead and change that today. I like to keep these plastic caps that come on new batteries. They're really useful for whenever you disconnect a battery and you want to make sure that the terminal doesn't touch by accident. Just go ahead and put that over it, and even if this thing did manage to touch for some reason, it's not gonna make contact. I watched a few YouTube videos on this on removing this alternator, and some say you have to do it from the bottom, and some people say you even have to remove the axle, which sounds like a pain in the butt. Some people say you could remove it from here, right? Like you remove this, whatever you have to, out the way. But I don't know, man. It looks pretty tight right there, even if you did start moving things. I'm gonna try it this way because it seems like the easiest method. But yeah, in their videos, it seemed like they had a lot more space down there to get the alternator out, but it looks pretty cramped. So, like I said, I'll try here, but if I can't get it to come out, then I'm gonna have to do it from the bottom, which is really gonna suck. So, of course, just my luck, this thing's escalating very quickly. So, I already had to pull the wheel off. And the reason for that is the lower bolt where the alternator actually pivots on, this one right here. You won't believe how tight this nut was. So it was almost impossible to get it from up here. I tried what I can and it just wasn't gonna go. So you know, you come in with from this angle and you can see where it goes right there. With a long extension and a swivel, just get my impact gun on it and it came right out. So with that out of the way, it's a good thing I ordered a new belt. They're pretty cheap, so I figure I'm coming in here, why not, right? Because look at this belt. It's pretty bad. Feels very hard too. So here's a new belt. But yeah, I figured I was gonna need that. So I got the alternator off of the car. You can see it sitting back there, and that was actually the easy part, I suppose. The hard part is getting it out of the car now. I'm gonna try to do whatever I can to get it out from the top up here, like I was saying. I'm trying to avoid pulling out the axle at all costs. So I'm gonna do what I have to do. Time to play some Tetris up here. Alright, so here's where I'm at. First thing I started doing was using zip ties to move whatever I can out of the way. As you can see, this hose going to the heater core, I got it zip tied, pulling it down and this way. This, what I'm assuming, is also a heater hose, like for coolant. I got it being pulled that way. I got this being pulled that way. So just use zip ties to your advantage wherever you can. And then I tried fitting the alternator through, but it just wasn't gonna happen. So next step was I removed the throttle body, and right now I'm in the process of removing these studs. I don't think I'm gonna remove the top ones, just the lower ones. As you can see, I already got one of them out. So here it goes right here. I'm just using this tool to do that. You can see it has like a cam action on it. So as it comes around, it's gonna pinch the stud right there, and that lets you remove it using a ratchet. So I'll see if I could get it set up on this one right here so I could show you. Alright, so I have it on that lower stud and the cam is locked in. And you kind of do need two hands for this because you want to use your other hand to make sure everything doesn't move. As you can see, it already let go because I'm not using my other hand to do it, but you see it grabbed right there. It's really a two-hand job. Two-hand job. You guys get the idea. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull this stud out. And there we go. Got it loosened up to the point where I could just remove it with my fingers, and it's out. Now, is any of this gonna work? I don't know. Maybe I'm just wasting my time taking all this crap apart, but I guess we're gonna find out. And boom, Bob's your auntie. Okay, so look, once you get the studs out of the way, the only thing left is this rubber hose, which I suppose you could remove it if you wanted to, but I didn't think it was necessary. And this line right here coming out the firewall. So basically, all you're gonna want to do is try to spread both of them like that, and you can see it's gonna give you enough space to pull the alternator out. Now I was wondering if I had to remove these studs in order to get this done, so I kept a close eye on them as I was removing the alternator, and like this thing just barely missed the intake manifold, you know, by a hair. So definitely these lower studs do have to come out. If they were in the way, there was no way I was gonna work around it, you know, at least that's what I think. So yeah, it's out. Honestly, not that bad, and I could have gotten it done a lot faster. You know, if I knew exactly what to do, just start tackling it right away. But basically, I was trying different things, seeing what worked, what doesn't work, and then just kept taking off more and more parts as I go along. So I hope that makes sense. But honestly, this is not that bad. I think it's way easier than taking, you know, taking the brakes apart and removing the axle and all that crap. I think this is easier. So now I'm gonna go ahead and get the new alternator and pop it in. Yeah, I think I made the right call. She does not sound happy. So here's a new one, pretty quiet as you would expect. Yowzers. Alright. Who the hell says yowzers? Alright, so I got this neat little trick from Flat Rate Master. He put up a post on Instagram about using his brake caliper tool, one of these types, to separate a subframe to give him enough space to get whatever trying to get, you know, whatever he was trying to get done. So basically, I was like, man, like thinking outside the box, right? Ever since I saw that, I've been using that trick on any application that I can, even to tilt an engine just enough so I could get a engine mount to line up. You know, I've used it countless times like that. It's freaking crazy. And once again, I almost forgot about that little pin right there. It's like a bushing, and when you tighten down the alternator, that bushing actually slides into the bracket, and it's what pinches the alternator in place so it doesn't move. But whenever you put a new alternator in, you have to spread that bushing back out or push it back out. So once again, I got my brake caliper tool. It's hard to see, but it's in there, and I've already gone ahead and used it to spread that out, and it did work. It pushed the bushing out. I saw it pop out like twice. And now I'm going to go ahead and remove the brake caliper tool, and I'm going to be able to fit the new alternator in without a problem, because it can be tricky. If you don't push that bushing back out, it'll be really tricky to get that alternator inside of that bracket. As you can see, the alternator fell right in place and everything lined up, and that's the whole point of pushing out that bushing I was talking about. And it almost lines up, but it's not perfectly. But the nice thing is, since the bushing isn't applying pressure, we could easily adjust it to get everything to line up. And I got the bolts right here, and I got it ready with some anti-sneeze. Gave it the classic slob job on it, and that thing is full to the brink with anti-seize. We don't need that thing getting stuck in the future. Not that it really matters, but alright, so I pretty much got that bolt lined up. I'm just gonna go ahead and knock it through. Now we could put the nut on it loosely while we go up top and do what we have to. And the alternator is completely in. Everything is tightened down for the alternator. The belt, it feels okay as far as tension. Feels like it might be able to use a little bit more tension, but I'll wait till I got the car running to make a call on that. See how, if the alternator is charging and if it's making any noise and whatnot. For the time being, I'm gonna go ahead and put all of this stuff back together. Alright, so I've gone over it, and it looks like I have everything put back together. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a first startup. Left the wheel off of it just in case I need to adjust the tension on the belt. Alright. Come on, baby. Alright, first good sign is no battery light. As you can see, it was right there before. 14 volts now. Now I am hearing a loud, not loud, but a pitching, how, I don't know what to call it, a high-pitched noise. Definitely sounds like it's coming from the alternator. I don't know, just leave it, I guess, send it. But I'm gonna go ahead and mess with the belt tension. But yeah, it's charging. Okay, so I've gone ahead and put a little bit more tension on the belt. You know what, I don't think this noise is gonna go away, because now that I remember, when I was spinning the new alternator just by hand, there was a little spot where it felt like it was hitting something, and just it was consistent, like something is touching inside, if that makes any sense. So you can imagine now that it's spinning at, you know, whatever 1000 RPM, whatever it's hitting inside of there, it's just gonna hit it very quickly and just make a high-pitched noise every time it hits it. So it's either gonna break in or just break. Let's go ahead and do a second startup. Well, I'm just glad it's charging. We know it's charging. Now it's just a matter of this issue with the alternator. Let's see if how long it lasts, because keep in mind it is a rebuilt one. Uh-oh, maybe I spoke too soon. Nice and quiet, there's no more noise. Maybe it was just the belt tension. And still no battery light and 14 volts. Nice. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead, pop the wheel on, and call it a day. It's about 12:30 at night, so